has been in the news a lot lately. I was talking about her in the monologue, and she's on the cover of Us Weekly with this cover, my side of the story. But they left my favorite feature in Us Weekly, which is the 25 things you don't know about me. Do you read it? Yeah, there you go. We hold a Melania's. It's not in this magazine, but it's coming out soon. Would you hear Melania's 25 things you didn't know about? All the stars do it. Tim Gunn has done it. If you have his, he'll be out here in it. And I did it. It's practically a...
Full with cheese. That is best shown by Trump's reaction to Bill Maher's most recent hilarious gem. Everyone has experienced it. When someone makes fun of us, we have to laugh it off. But it's like seeing a real-life cartoon when Trump loses his temper over Melania and Loomer's hair. Let's examine this humorous story together.
25 things you didn't know about Melania. In Slovenia, I was a catalog model, which is what you call a model you order out of a catalog. I have no first language. I hope I inspire little girls everywhere to marry for money. Every time I look at my husband, I'm reminded of the Slovenian national dish. Fat, greasy sausage filled with...
Ever wonder how well-known individuals would respond if they were brutally honest in their lists of the 25 things you don't know about me? Bill Maher picked Melania Trump as his target to give us a peek of that alternate universe. And what a doozy he picked. US Weekly just had a cover story on Melania. You know, the usual fluff piece. But the mayor wasn't fond of that kind of let's just say that the First Lady wasn't quite in agreement with his assessment of Melania's list.
This list from Michelle Obama. Well, that's... Sometimes when I bounce light on my diamond, Donald's hair will chase it like a cat. I once caught Mike Pence trying my stilettos. Well, it's... My Secret Service code name is that poor woman. And if I tell my younger self just one thing, it would be this. If you catch a leprechaun and he gives you one wish, be more specific. I wish I knew why I have a recurring dream I'm pinned beneath a giant sack of shit.
People were rolling on the floor laughing at some of his genuine zingers, which made them realize, I can hold my breath for up to 90 seconds, which comes in handy more often than you'd think. The version on my hair, however, was much more spicy. Gems like, I love puppies, and I once met the Queen were presumably in the original piece. The internet took off. Twitter was ablaze with people sharing their favorite misinformation. Since, well, the last time Mara roasted Trump's, I haven't laughed that hard. A user said,
Over a dozen Republican candidates tried to stop Trump and couldn't. Hillary couldn't. Never Trumpers couldn't. Mueller couldn't. Is there anyone left who can check Donald Trump? Finally, new Melania Trump must do what dozens of buildings around the world have done and take the Trump name off. So far, yes, Melania. It's not anti-feminist to say that in addition to doing everything men can do intellectually, women also have another power. The power...
Another voice was added. Are any of them actually trustworthy? That's bad? But Maher had only just warmed up. He kept on cracking jokes, each one more absurd than the last. At one point, Donald said, Your silence. I questioned him about his favorite thing about me. Oh no. He would be burned just when we thought it could get much crazier. Maher discarded. The mother of all false information. Are you prepared for this? Are you ready for this? According to him, Melania's ultimate goal was to persuade young women everywhere to marry for financial benefit. Oh my God. It's not simply about going too far.
Greek play Lysistrata, women end a war by denying sex to their men. It was the original Bush doctrine. Getting men to change their destructive ways by threatening to leave them, humiliate them, or cut them off in bed. It's a tale of this time. Melania, the world needs you. President Hellboy has proved to be impervious to facts, reason, shame, and...
Maher was not finished attempting to prod the orange bear that was tap dancing over it while wearing stilettos. So hold on to your MAGA hats, folks. He was just getting started. Oh no! His imaginary list of rules for the Trump marriage turns out to be rather extensive. Compared to a well-done steak with ketchup, it is more juicy. I swear. Alright folks, you were intrigued by Maher's lies about Melania. That was just the introduction. Now for the main course, Maher's fictitious manual on Trump marriage.
You can end this reign of terror, and all you have to do is channel your inner Taylor Swift and walk out the door. Maybe if you left him for another man, especially if that man was Mexican, maybe he would implode on his own. You know you want. Your unhappiness obvious. You despise his creepy little monk fingers touching your hand.
I promise you that these rules are more nonsensical than Trump's arguments on an average day. As a result, Bill Maher, our favorite political comedian, decided to make some hilarious rules for the Trump marriage. Thus, it seems like there aren't enough rules involved in becoming president.
Toss his boxy clown suits on front lawn. Just tell him, I'm leaving you and I'm taking our child. He would be stunned. So kick him to the curb. Slap that hand for good. No more public embarrassment. No more stealing your makeup. Child. Now, I know I'm probably drinking and Melania isn't going to do any of this, but
Are you ready for
They're not your typical ones. But before you turn in for the night, always say, I love you. Some kind of rules. I'm afraid they are amusing. My hair's rules are as far from traditional relationship advice as Trump is from humility. While most couples worry over who does the dishes, May claims that the Trumps are more concerned with somewhat different issues, like not leaving your girdle on the toilet floor.
he had someone to do it with. Divorce is always easier in pairs. What if you had a buddy, Melania? Because there's another former model who's also married to a super-rich Republican mother, Mrs. Rupert Murdoch, Jerry Hall. You're married to the man who runs Fox News. You're married to the man who made Brexit happen, the man who Trump elected and keeps his base ignorant. And you two have a lot in common. Your husbands are ruining the world.
Is it possible that the most powerful man in the world would get criticism for leaving his man shapewear lying around? Consider it, really, a comedy with nuclear code, because they take use of preconceived notions about the Trump marriage. These are really potent jokes.
Trump hears some demonstrously false nonsense from some crank guest on Fox and tweets it out as fact. The axis of evil in the world now is Trump and Fox News. We have a government propaganda channel now. It's impossible to even tell who's wearing the head in this horse costume. Or he gets a brain fart and belches it out at a rally, and Fox backs that up. They're on this insane feedback loop. They're like that couple that keeps giving each other herpes.
We have all seen the awkward interactions between Melania and Donald. That's right. My hair added to those embarrassed sensations. But wait, it gets better. With the girdle joke, my hair had hardly warmed up. Another guideline he had is what really sticks out.
Girls, you gotta step up. We have tried everything, but the more we resist these two menaces, the stronger they get. They're like the Night King in Game of Thrones. But I'm telling you, cavemen like Trump and Mert can't handle one thing, an ego lag. Rupert has been married 4 times, 3. Some guys just can't be alone. Instead of commanding an army of brain-dead zombies, okay, they're exactly like the Night King.
Are you ready for this? Prepare yourselves, because this is going to be a doozy. According to my hair's made-up rule book, one of the most crucial tenets of the Trump marriage is to remain silent when I say,
Being in prison, they can't make it on the outside. They need to be married. When you're Donald Trump, why leave you? You leave them. He would imagine how nuts he would go if he had to see her in the press all the time. Trump divorce, how Melania lost 200 pounds of flab. Fall apart if she ever said, Donald, there's nothing here.
I can't love what you have become, and I found where you hid my passport.
Melania Ben Ever says, I've never felt more not dead inside. Melania on Oscar de la Hoya, best sex I ever had.
I love you. You're really welcome. It's not just a simple burn. It is comparable to a forest fire. It takes advantage of the way the public perceives Trump's marriage by portraying it as so cold that you would need a coat to attend their anniversary dinner.
Couldn't cast their vote right now. Trump announced nearly 2 years ago. Did anyone say, but I need to hear more about this Donald Trump? It's time we admit that the endless campaign exists only to enrich advertisers, political consultants, and what's left of the news media. If he can support forcing a woman to choose whether to have an abortion in 6 weeks, he can choose whether or not to abort.
This joke has a lot of impact. We've all seen those moments when Melania doesn't seem really thrilled to be there. When you think about it, My Hair basically took that idea and ran with it, creating a punchline that is both humorous and kind of melancholy. Don't assume, however, that Maher has ceased nudging the orange bear. He was only getting warmed up. Unfortunately, there were a lot more jokes in the comic that were aimed at the former president's thin skin. I promise you that what followed was much more absurd. Ever pondered the Secret Service's true feelings about the people they are entrusted to protect? Yes, Bill, he did. He may also need a separate security detail because of how vicious his code name is. Now let's talk about these Secret Service code names. They're supposed to be quiet and formal, right? Doesn't it sound elegant? Like Trump's mogul and Melania's muse. But My Hair wasn't buying it. He gave Melania a code name that is, let's say, more truthful. Picture myself on stage with my hair and a cheeky gleam in his eye. As he builds to something important, the audience is anticipating every word. He then abruptly discloses Melania, his secret name for that depressed, wretched woman. The crowd explodes, as he exposed what everyone in the crowd had been thinking but was too afraid to say. You could just hear their collective oh-oh. Everyone was laughing, but you know how embarrassing it is to laugh at something that's both funny and kinda sad. Indeed, that one caused Twitter to go viral faster than Trump's outburst after a bad hair day. My Hair just said what we've all been thinking for years. But why was this joke so powerful? One individual asked. The mayor appears to have distilled all of the awkward Trump marriage moments, the forced grins and hand swats, into 5 brief phrases. Melania's stay in the White House is not just a joke, it's a whole tale. Think about this. In essence, Maher's gift for Melania is a show of compassion. He appears to be saying, remember how Melania used to look like she would much rather be somewhere else? While earlier first ladies were given imaginative code names like Angel or Rosebud. Yes, we did notice as well. Melania's public statements on her duty as first lady have also been as clear-cut as swamp water. She is always evasive, let's face it. Her interviews give me the impression that she is trying to help me by sending me secret messages. People, hold on to your MAGA hats. Maher just took the idea and ran with it, coming up with a punchline that is both painful and funny. My Hair was barely getting started. He was preparing additional jokes. They all aimed for the Trumps like humorous rockets. And trust me, the subsequent incident was so absurd that it made the poor woman seem admirable. There are other issues with Trump besides his lack of tolerance for criticism. Maher decided to ridicule the previous president's whole look. But why does Trump find remarks about his looks so offensive? Hey everyone, check out this hilarious joke about me. He appears to be saying. Are you referring to a cell phone? Maybe we've been looking at this quite wrong. Maybe the most stable geniuses aren't those in the White House, you know. They are the ones who crack jokes on late-night TV. Who needs nuclear codes when you have them? Jokes that might cause a president to lose his temper.